I wanted to ask you, especially in the run-up to this CEB meeting, there's a big controversy around WIPO and a withheld OIOS audit that involves possible misconduct by the head of WIPO, Mr. Francis Guri. And it seems like here you were saying that you know, transparency, OIOS releases its documents there. Only 3 pages have been released, and so there's many member states, but also people interested in UN corruption are interested in them. Does he have a view? Does the Secretary General have a view whether that document should in fact be released?
I know from what I know, the OIS report was shared with the Governing Council of WIPO, which is a specialized agency with its own governing body. Obviously, whatever can be done to support the work of OIOS should be done.
And I wanted to ask you again about the Panama Papers. I know that yesterday you'd said that you'd acknowledged that the SDGs do refer to transparency, but I've seen that the high-level panel on financial flow, illicit financial flows from Africa that the UN had with the AU, Mr. Mbeki has said that these papers, you know, cast great light on an issue of much interest to the United Nations. So I wanted to ask you again, very specifically, does the Secretary General believe that this trove of documents should be provided to prosecutors interested that have open criminal cases involving people that have appeared in them?
I think if prosecutors need those papers, they will put in a request to have access.
Because there's a journal.
No, I understand, Matthew, but I really have nothing else to add.
Okay. So I have one more, and it's not what you expect, but I don't know if you'll like it. But I just wanted to be clear on sort of how the room works, and it has to do with the press conference that was held on Friday with the Secretary General and François Hollande. As I'm sure you saw, there was a seat holder for Laurent Fabius that sat in the front row and got up when he came in. But what I really want to ask you about is that there was a journalist who was asked to leave the front row so that a French candidate for UNFCCC, Laurence Toubiana, could sit in the front row. And this, I often hear certainly with other countries, it's said that the front row or the room is for journalists. What is that? Is that permissible? What was your role in it, and what can you say about how the room is supposed to work?
I had no role. I think you were in the front seat. A lot of journalists were in the front seats. I've always fought for journalists to be seated as far up front as possible.
But there was a journalist asked to move so that Laurence Toubiana could sit there.
I did not ask that person to move. Thank you.
Thank you.